Okay, in this video I'm going to go through the steps of creating a shopping cart that will ask the user for a number of items. We don't know how many items they want to purchase. It's going to take each item and it's going to ask for each item the quantity, and then it's going to output a shopping cart. So basically we're going to start this program. I'm going to do it the long way. I'm going to create separate arrays. And then we're going to later go into a better solution. Okay, so basically I want to create a number of items. We don't know what it is. So I'm going to create some variables, and they're going to be global variables, meaning they're going to be available throughout the entire program. So I'm going to create an integer that's going to keep track of how many items the user wants to purchase. It's an integer, and then we're going to create three arrays. We're going to create an array for the item's name. Okay, and here you can see I have the items, and then I'm going to create the prices, and that's going to be a dollar amount, so it's going to be a double. And then I'm going to create some quantities, so how many do they want of each item. So we have three arrays here, you'll notice. Now they are established throughout the entire program, but they are not initialized. So in the main class, we need to set them up so that they work. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create some methods that will get integers, doubles, and strings from the user. So I'm going to cut and paste those methods into the program. Okay, so I have these three methods here. And it wants to import the scanner class because they all use the scanner class. Okay, so we have these three methods: get item price, and a message that will ask the user. It will output the message, and then it will get their response, and it will return the double back to us. And then I have get item name and get item quantity. Okay, and this is integer string. So I've created these methods ahead of time. You can pause the video and get them down. We will use these kind of methods a lot, so I usually create kind of a snippet for this code. Okay, all right, so I have my three things. So the first thing we want to do is we want to ask the user for how many items. So we're going to assign it to total items. We're going to say total items, and we want to get an integer from the user. So I'm going to right here, I'm going to use get item quantity. I'm going to actually copy this method here just to get an integer. I'm going to call it, I'm going to make one more method here. I'm going to call it get number of items. Okay, you can call it anything you want. And it takes an integer and gets an item. So I just made a duplicate method, does the same thing, and this probably could be cleaned up having two similar methods, but just for this purposes, we're just going to say get number of items, and we're going to send in a message. How many items do you want to buy? Okay, and I'm going to just create a little system out message here that says welcome to my store. Okay, and then we have the total items now. Now we can initialize all of these arrays so that they know how many items we'll include in them. Okay, so we're going to say items equals new, and we have to assign it the type of data that's going in. So total items, and then prices equals new, and these are doubles. Total items, and quantity equals new int total items. Okay, so now I have my three arrays. They're all ready to receive information. So now what we need to do is we need to do a while loop so we can get each item. So now that I know how many items I want, I'm going to create a simple while loop. So we need it to go a certain number of times. We're still going to say int count equals 0. This is going to start at 0, so I know I'm starting at the 0 position of the array. And I'm going to create a while loop that's going to while count equals total items. And we're going to loop through each item. So this is going to run, so if they say 3, it's going to run 3 times. If they say 15, it's going to say 15 times. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to get each item. So I'm going to create a method here called get item details. and I'm going to send in the count, meaning the 0 position. Okay, so it's going to take the 0 position. So it's going to first send in a 0, then a 1, then a 2. So it's going to go, so we need to write this method. Okay, so down here we're going to create a new method. Private static void get item details. Okay, and it knows what I want, and I want it int. I'm just going to say C for count. Okay, all right. Actually, we'll call it index because it's a good way of referring to an item's location in the array. Okay, so we're going to get the item's details. Okay, so now we're going to use these methods here, get item price, get item. So it's very simple, this method. We're going to say items index equals, and then we call the method get item name, and then we ask a message, what is the item? And I want to put item, what is the name of item number, and then I want to put plus, and then I want to say index question mark, and that's going to basically say what is the name of item number 0. So what we need to do here is we need to increment it by 1 plus 1. Okay, and then we're going to do prices, prices index equals get item price. What is the what is the price of item number index plus 1 plus question mark. I'm also going to put a space after this so it will go on the same line, and I'm also not going to use print line. You notice here I'm doing print, that means it's going to put it after it. So again, we have print and print, so it's in print line. Okay, so I also want to do that up here. I want to add a space there. Okay, all right, and then we're going to do quantity index equals get, and then my last one, what is the how many of item number plus index plus 1 do you want to buy? And then a space and then a semicolon. So that's it. So that's going to take each item, put the first time it's going to do 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, and it's going to put it in the correct position. And these are global variables, arrays that are available throughout the entire program, so I don't have to pass anything in or out. It's basically right in here. So these are available throughout the program. So this will assign all the variables. So at the end of this while loop, we now have all of our items created. Okay, so now we're going to display the cart. Okay, and we need a method called display cart. So down here, I'm going to put that underneath this method because it's kind of like the order void display cart. Okay, and it's not going to pass anything in here. Okay, so now we need to do the same thing we did before. We need to create some messages. So we're going to create system out. I'm going to create kind of a divider area here. Okay, and then I'm going to say system out, shopping cart details. I'm just going to copy this line again. All right, so there we go. So now what we need to do is loop. And we need to loop through each of the arrays. Okay, so again, we're going to do a for loop. Actually, we're going to do a for loop. We didn't use that before. We used the while loop, but again, this is good. Total items and I++. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to print it out. So it says something like this. It says 3 Elmer's glue, and then some items, and then it's going to say $1.50 equals, and then we have 3 of them, so that would be $4.50. So we want it to look like this on the display when it prints out. Okay, so we need that for each line. So what I'm going to do in here is I'm just going to make another separate method that so it's going to show show line item. You can call it anything you want, but anyway, I'm going to call it show line item, and I'm going to pass in the item that's being changed. So we're going to say I here. Okay, and then I'm going to create that method. It's going to be private static void show line item int I. I'm going to call it index. Again, index is a good name for these. All right, so now we want to print out the message. So it's kind of a long line of code, so I'm going to break it into pieces. It might make it easier to see it. So we're going to say string quantity text equals quantity I plus, and I'm going to tab it over. I'm going to use tabs so it spaces it out, and then plus items I. Right, so that's the quantity part. So that's going to output, that will output 3 dash dash, and then the item. I'm going to call this, let's say, pencils, like that. So that's what that outputs. Then we have another string that keeps track of the item text. I'm just going to make a little, I don't really need that. I should probably tag that onto the end, but I just want to break this into pieces. And then price text. This is actually supposed to be over here, item text. Put that over here. That makes more sense. Item text plus like that. Okay. So this is only going to print this, and then this will print pencils. Oops. And then price text equals. Oops. Price text equals prices I plus equal plus, and then we want to add the prices I. So it's going to take the prices and it's going to multiply it by the total quantity I. Okay, and that's that. And then it's, so there's the 3 pieces that creates a line. Okay, and then we're going to put it all together. So we're going to output that. So I'm going to say system out. Oops. And then I'm going to say quantity text plus item text plus price text. And that should print out a line of information. So it shows the line item for each one. And then we want to, when it comes out, we're going to have to print out this again. So let's test the program at this point, see if it's working with at least getting all of our items and then outputting them. Okay, so here we go. So I have a couple errors here. So quantity, okay, so I use the word index here. As I pass that in, and this should be index and index. Did I do that above as well? No, I did it right on that one. All right, let's try it again. Run, shopping cart. All right, so welcome to my store. How many you want to buy? So I want 3. I want to say pencils. Keep misspelling that. Okay, and then what's the price? 25 cents. And how many do you want to buy? I want to buy 10. What's the second item? Glue. That's $1.50. I want 3. And you notice the number here isn't incrementing. That's a problem. Okay, and then we want to buy a notebook. That's $2.50. And how many do you want to buy? 5. Okay, and then it seems to want to keep going, which is a problem too. What's the name of the third item? Oh, I said how many? I said 3, but that's not right. All right, so let's break the program and figure out why it's not working, because this could go on forever. I know the reasons why it's not working. Okay, so we need to abort this program. So here's the stop. Okay, so a couple problems. So in my while loop, this thing never increments, so I need to increment count, otherwise it will never reach. So currently it's an infinite loop. The other problem is it keeps sending an index. Oh, that's the same exact problem, because I'm sending in count and it never increments. This never goes up, so it's always doing 1. Alright, so that was a simple solution. One problem caused all those problems. 3 pencils, price 25 cents, 10, glue, 125. How many you want to buy? 3, notebook, 250. And how many you want to buy? 5. Alright, so there you go. Shopping cart details. You have your 10 pencils, 25 cents. Okay, so this is perfectly fine for now. I just want to add a little more space on my lines here, so that it kind of goes the long way. In terms of formatting, I'll go over that in a later. I can't see how to type that. Alright, so let's just copy that. Like so, and like so. Alright, so the last things we want to add are we want to output the subtotal, we want to output the sales tax, the total cost, and the average cost per items. Okay, so I'm going to separate these into, I'm going to get some variables here, so I'm going to do doubled subtotal equals. So how do we calculate the subtotal? So we want to make a method that does that. So we're going to say calculate subtotal, or you can call it whatever you want here. I'm going to make a double called tax, which is the subtotal times a percentage rate. Ugh. All right, 8.75. And then we want a double, which is the total equals subtotal plus tax. Okay, and then we're going to output these things. Oops. Alright, so we're going to output the subtotal. And I'm going to just I'm going to copy this line here and just change it to each of the items. Paste, paste, paste. And this is going to be sales tax at 8.75%. Okay, and this is going to be total cost and average cost of all items. Okay, so the subtotal here will be plus subtotal, and this is going to be plus tax, and this is going to be total this is going to be subtotal divided by, and I need a method for get total items. So I need a method that will count all of the items. So if I have 10 pencils, 3 glue, and 5 notebook, that would be a total of 18 items. Okay, so we need a method for that as well. So those are the 2 methods I have to create. So we're going to go down here, and you can put these in where you want, but I'll put them right down here. Okay. Private, actually let's put them down a little further because it's kind of the order. So the short line in. Alright, so let's put it down here. Private, static, int, get total. What was it called? It was called get total items. Right. Get total items. And that's going to return an integer. So all we have to do is we need to go through the quantities and count and add them up. So we're going to have return, we're going to create a sum. Let's just sum up all the items. We'll say sum equals 0. And then I'm going to use a for each loop here. So I'm going to say for int, and I'm going to say item quantity, and then we're just going to add to the sum plus equal item. Okay, so it goes into the quantity array. It takes the first one, let's say you had 10 pencils. It puts 10 into item. It adds 10 to sum. Then it goes to the next one. It takes the glue, there's 3 goes into here, 3 plus 10 is 13, and it does it. So this goes through each item and pulls it out, and we're just going to return the sum, and that's going to get the total number of items, and I have to declare that as an integer. Okay, so this is going to solve this problem up here. That's not read anymore. All right, so calculate subtotal. So how do we do that? All right, so we just need to add up all the values. So we're going to void calculate subtotal, and that doesn't take it. So again, we're going to loop through each item. So we can just do a for loop for int I equals 0, I total items, I plus plus. And what we need to do is we need to, again, keep track of a total here, and I'm going to just call it, whatever, you can call it whatever you want, but it's going to be a double. We'll call it total. And I'm going to say total plus equal, and we're going to go through each thing. So we're going to say prices I times quantity I, and that will add up the total, and we want to return, oops, it should be a return up here. Should be double. Total plus equal return total. Why isn't this picking up here? Okay. I need to declare it here. I need to set it to 0. Okay, there we go. So there we go. So we set the total to 0, and then it goes through each item, takes the price and the quantity, multiples them together, adds it to the total, and then it does it to each one, and then returns the total back up here. So there, calculate subtotal is finished. So that should do it. That's our program. So we're going to say S out, and we'll say thanks for shopping with us. Okay, and then we're going to run the program. Okay, so let's try it. 3. So the name of the pencils, and the price is 25 cents. I want to buy 10. Glue, it's $1.50. 3. Notebook, $2.50. And I want to buy 5. All right, so there you go. So we've got 25. The total is $19.50. This is not right because I multiplied this incorrectly, so it should be multiplied by 0.0875. Okay, and then we have total cost, which would not be right. So again, we're going to just trust that, and then it would be the average price of each item is $1.08. Okay, so you can see here we have some issues with the formatting, so we'll address that in the